37-14, another loss for Colorado here at Folsom Field. Brian, there's a lot that's wrong with his offense once again. And once again, Brendan Lewis is, as Darrell put it, he's gun-shy out there. Even when guys are open, there's a delay there. But yet, we still have not seen Drew Carter out there. And we're all kind of wondering at this point why. I mean, it was 37-14 with a little over 14 minutes left in this football game.
I don't get it. I'm totally at a loss, and I don't know how to answer that question because we asked Darrell that last week, and he had the golden opportunity last week to get him in. Last 2 weeks, you've had almost 2 full quarters to get Drew Carter in there, and he keeps talking about trying to build up Brendan Lewis's confidence, and I know you got a couple things going in the third quarter, but none of that matters. I mean, this kid's one play away from being your guy. I don't understand why they're not taking game opportunities to give this guy some reps.
Yeah, and the offensive line struggled again today. Carl Darrell said there were times that they dropped back into coverage and they weren't really bringing anybody, yet they still got pressure. Yeah. It seemed like he was at kind of a loss for words in terms of how they can fix that.
Yeah, I mean, and he's right. He was defending Brendan Lewis a lot in this post game, and I get it in some ways because it's not totally Brendan Lewis's fault here, and that's a good example. The offensive line is not very good, and they have not been good for 3 weeks or several weeks, and a little bit better against ASU, but still, teams are not having to bring blitzes. I mean, they're going with 3-4 man fronts, and they're getting there, and it's just bad. I mean, it's bad all the way around, and that doesn't help your quarterback's confidence either when he knows he's probably going to get hit.
Yeah, I think game reps are important for any young quarterback to develop, but it just doesn't feel like Brendan Lewis is gaining confidence when these games are getting out of reach out there. It feels like, if anything, it's kind of going the other direction.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know how it's building up his confidence to keep him in there, in a 37-14 game or 35-10 like it was last week. It just doesn't make sense to me. And, I've said it before, Carl Darrell's been doing this a lot longer. I mean, I've never done it. I've never been a coach. He's been doing this for a long time. He knows football way more than I do. But this one, I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand his reasoning. It doesn't make any sense to me.
The bright spots offensively would be Deion Smith finding the end zone. He missed all of last season with the torn ACL. He had a torn ACL his senior year in high school, so a great moment for him. He showed a great burst getting to the corner of the end zone there. And Brady Russell, even joking in the post-game press conference, admits that people didn't expect him to have that type of speed. That was a fun moment for the CU offense.
Yeah, finally got something going. It was the longest pass play in 2 years for this program since the last time USC was here, actually. The famous one where Laviska scores and Rick George gives him the hug.
Yeah.
This was the longest pass play since that play. So, that was a good moment, and I didn't know Brady was that fast, actually. I was impressed he made 65 yards. But those moments are just too few and far between right now. I mean, you could see some signs of growth with the offense, but, when 14 points and 230 yards is growth, that's not good.
Yeah, CU averaged 4.3 yards per play today. Going into today's game, they were averaging 4.1. I've even looked back at some rough seasons here in recent history in 06 and 2012. They weren't much better those years, but they were still averaging a little bit more yards per play. There's 7 games left. Mm-hmm. You're venturing into historically bad in terms of what the CU offense is.
Yeah, and, at this point, there is 7 games left. A lot could change, and I looked up some things passing game-wise. I mean, this is honestly what the yards per pass going into this week was one of the worst in the FBS in the last 30 years. So they improved on that a little bit today. I think that we'll see if it changes throughout the course of the year. But yeah, it doesn't change the fact that this offense is just not very good, and it's one of the worst offenses we've seen around here in a number of years. And it reminds me. I mean, it's as bad as what we saw from some of those Emory teams, during his years, and it's just bad. It's ugly football.
Defensively, it was a little bit of a mixed bag. They did get a takeaway. Some of those plays that Drake London made, no one is going to be able to defend some of those plays. It was just incredible. I was trying to think back. A.J. Green had to have been maybe the last receiver that talented that played on this football field. No offense to Laviska Shenault, but he was kind of more of an all-around type player. Yeah. As a pure receiver, I don't think we've seen anything like that since A.J. Green was in this building.
Yeah, that was pretty impressive. I mean, I feel bad for Christian Gonzalez because on that touchdown drive, I don't know if Christian could have played that drive any better, but there were about 3 plays that Drake London just went over the top of him and made the play. And that touchdown, it was placed perfectly, but it was the one-handed catch, off almost out of bounds when he caught it. I'm not sure Christian could have done anything better. You just got to tip your hat and say, wow, this is why that kid's leading the country in receiving. He's pretty good.
Yeah. They don't get any sacks today, and on the other side, USC had 3 sacks through 4 games. They had 5 sacks today against Colorado. I guess we're kind of reverting back to the issues with protection there. Defensively, they're just not consistently getting pressure on the quarterback. It was nice to see Mustafa Johnson out there. There were times that they're still, the effort is there defensively. You still like that, but some teams have started to spread them out. Some of those screen plays, they've had a real hard time defending. I was surprised ASU didn't try to do that even more in last week's game. So they're starting to become more and more issues defensively now than we saw early on this season.
Yeah, and they didn't play that well today, but I'm not too worried about the defense. I feel like they're a good defense, not a great defense, and so with that, you're going to have some clunker games. This was a clunker game. With 2 weeks to prepare for Arizona, I expect Chris Wilson to get some things fixed on that defense. They'll be better. But you're right, today, USC's been struggling in a lot of ways, and they make them look pretty good.
So they have a bye week now. How much of this can get fixed this week? It's certainly a good time to regroup, I feel like, as a team, and maybe try to hit the reset button. But certainly outside of the Champion Center, there's going to be a lot of noise continuing on about just, where this program is right now, and you can't blame anybody for being as angry and as frustrated as they are.
Well, like I said, I feel like defensively they can fix some things. Offensively, I'm not sure how it gets any better than what it looks like today. I mean, you don't have a great offensive line. I mean, those are veteran players playing on the offensive line, and they're struggling. Your quarterback, you can't change the fact you've got freshman quarterbacks that are on this roster. So I'm not sure how much of it changed offensively. I guess the bright spot, at least for the next couple of weeks, is you have a bye week, and then you have Arizona, who might be the only team in the Pac-12 worse than CU, and even that one, who knows? Because Arizona usually plays well against the Buffs. So at least that's the silver lining, is there's a winnable game 2 weeks from now.
And if they don't, we can't get ahead of ourselves and say if they don't win that game, that's what I was about to say. But you hate to put too much importance on one game, but I mean, just for the psyche of this program and that sideline and not losing the locker room, I mean, they better come out and perform in a couple weeks.
That's really their best shot at a win, when you look at the remaining schedule. So, yeah, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, but really, these 2 weeks are pretty important. I mean, Carl Durrell said it in his postgame. This is a pivotal time for this program right now. I mean, they've got 2 weeks to kind of get things going and and try to turn things around after the bye week.
All right, we're about to get run over here, so we'll sign off here. We'll be back with more analysis during the bye week.